Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode, whatever you want to call it, of Kaiju Live Chat. I am joined by the one and only Peter from Attack. Peter, welcome, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
What's up, AJ? Thanks for having me, man. I'm so stoked to be here. I got my Kaiju Live shirt.
And is that one of the new ones, right? That's a new one, right?
Brand new.
How's the print on those things?
Looks good to me.
I got the sublimated one, which I love because those things like never fade. Shout out to
Okay.
Collect All Monsters.
I love that shirt. I want that shirt.
I'll send you the link.
All right, good.
So it's, oh man, so we got a lot of. I got to see some happy moments.
I just want a Leslie Chambers T-shirt, like with just Leslie's face right on it. Big.
Yeah, I got some pictures I can send from the. I don't know if you watched the couples chat with me and Leslie, and his wife and my wife, but there was some moments that were screenshot worthy for sure.
Let's do it, dude.
So I see some happy moments on the table there. I see one.
Yes, man. This one. Let's talk about this guy here, and this guy here. We're both happy moments from the same episode. Like one of the first episodes I caught in. I only really started watching Kaiju Live during the pandemic. Actually, like it was my first time watching the show, and I was so stoked to find it. And at first, it was like really good ASMR of like watching figures come up and you guys talking a little bit, and then just like kind of chill. But then I'm like, ooh, I gotta get some of these things, and I got both of these in one shot, and I was so stoked about it. So they are featured in my collection on the regular.
Yeah, no, I see. I was watching a lot of your videos, and I see the Hedora back there on the shelf. I think you rotate them in a lot, I guess.
I
got a sweet
messed them
rotation
a little bit, but they're back there. Yeah, sometimes I get some new ones. I got this big X Plus display back here. You probably can't see it, but and then I have mostly vinyls on the Sofubis and like Marmots and Marusan, stuff like that up there. But yeah, so fun.
Is that we got two Gigantics, we got Mechagodzilla, we got G62.
I got the 62 Mecha G. I got the Ultraman. I gotta admit though, like a lot of my collecting of the X Plus stuff started just about a couple years ago because, well, I got some stuff years and years ago because I doing the convention circuit in Florida. There was a guy named John. He looked like Quint from Jaws. I can never remember his last name, but he was like the dealer.
Don't mention that name.
No,
that's Dad's doll's eyes thing.
But I used to. He's the only guy dealing like cool stuff in Florida, and we were only doing Florida shows. And I got a couple of things from him. Like I got the Rocket Pro gear on and some other figures little by little. But then, once the art business started doing really well, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get some stuff for this new studio I was building. And I went in hard and I caught up with some things, and then I did some trades with some friends, and I'm feeling happy now. I went to Japan. I found a few things. And
how many times you been? How many times you been to Japan?
Once last year for the first time. Yep, last year was my first time, and it was great. We did 2 weeks there. We did everything that we could do. I mean, we still have so much left to do. But we went to like 3 mandarakes. We went to Kaiju Sakaba and got to eat in the restaurant. It was amazing. And
that's like the Ultraman restaurant, right?
Yeah. There's 2 different locations. We went to one of them, and I was like, I wish we could go to the other one, but we ran out of time. I got tattooed out there with Tabori style. Nice. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Shout out Horimitsu, and we just had the best. Gabby and I had the best experience, and it was like, can't wait to go again. And I'm glad we went last year. We were thinking about not going and waiting until this year, and look, so lucky us.
Yeah, I was this year I was planning on making a trip to try to get to like one of the Wonderfest or Superfests, and then that that didn't happen.
Dude, I just wanted to go to G-Fest this year. Would have been my first G-Fest. I've never been.
Oh, it would have been nice. Yeah, that would have been my. We were super excited because last year was the first. We had a nice the Kaiju Live community. We had built it up, so we basically just did like a giant just hangout session there with a lot of people. Jelly. So it was awesome. Yeah, we hung out. my God, I forget the name of the place. And we basically just took over the entire restaurant that was in the hotel for a
So
night.
fun.
It was great. We were so
it.
can't wait to do that again. So hopefully, next
For
year.
sure.
And they switched venues, which I'm very excited about.
I'm excited, man. I've never been. I was gonna go this year. My original plan was to go and just table this year, and then everything happened with Skybound. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go hang and meet everybody. And now, but next year or as soon as we can, I'm gonna go hard, dude. I'm going all in. I'm gonna make up for all the missed years.
It's definitely awesome.
Yeah.
Something you should by far experience at least once.
For sure, man.
Okay. All right, let me hold on. Try to get Dad in here.
Heck yeah. For all of the people who are joining the chat who've never watched an episode, who are just like who know me and my artwork, and I told them to come check it out. This is some of the most fun show that you can watch on YouTube. It's like the best version of QVC, right? But with all good stuff in a row. And then like there's a little education thrown in between you and your dad talking about all the figures and the history and the little anecdotes. But I gotta say, my favorite thing that happened in the last few months that I watched was when your dad didn't come in. He was calling from his phone from his house on his like Busy Boy,
which is what he's trying to do now.
To me, that's the best. I love it when your dad calls in and sabotages everything. To me, it's the best, dude. Yes. Dude.
Oh, Dad, turn off your video. No, it's okay. You're fine.
What's up, Frank? I don't know why it gives me such joy, dude. I love it so much, man. I love it. I demanded it. Like, you gotta have your pops on. If not, it's not a real full blast episode experience. Look at that. The phone's pointing up.
Thank you.
I love it, man.
QVC Kaiju edition. All right, Dad, you gotta. Hold on. Oh God. Hold on, everybody. You need to.
I love it, man. Heck yeah.
I don't even
listen
know
to that.
anymore.
That's the best. I love it, man.
How do you mute in there? Oh God. Oh God. Shut it off. Okay, hold on a second.
That's on brand, dude. It's like retro sci-fi effects.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I planned it that way.
Got a full chat too. Shout out.
Yeah,
Hey, David, what's up? David Dopko, Will Dawson, Raffy's here. Got a big gang in there.
Yeah, you're not having. Is this like not plugged in? Yeah, he didn't have the mic actually all the way plugged in, so it came through his headset.
I love it. Good.
All right, so let me get the mic in between us.
Hello, Peter.
What's up, dude? What's up, Frank? How are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Dude, thanks for making the time. I know you're a busy man.
Yeah. Not as busy as I'd like to be.
I love it.
You gotta mute yourself in here. You can keep talking. Go ahead. I'll figure this out.
Frank, I try to bring out some of my collection here. I don't know if you can see it, but I was trying to impress.
Definitely.
You guys always come so locked and loaded with the good stuff, and that's what you're getting rid of. So I try to put out a few things in honor.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great collection there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, AJ, this is a happy moment.
Right. The
Got it on the
Bulwark
show.
smokestack. Yeah.
Yeah, and this Gamera I got from you guys. That's a happy moment.
cool.
Same
That's the
show.
one with the bile in the mouth, right? He's got that one's awesome. That's like
Love that, man. What a great paint job.
Oh, I see some of your fans are here dropping some emojis.
Uh,
Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Hey, gang.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Rafi. Hey, guys.
So speaking of cons, when we were talking about before, it's funny. Like we met you at 5 Points in Brooklyn. What was it? 2 years ago?
No, dude, that was just last year, believe it or not.
That was last year. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
I feel like we're in a
Wow.
time vault.
I know. I had the same conversation with my wife. We were just there loving it. That show was awesome. That venue was great. And it was such a small show, but it was like a whirlwind. and it's so cool that we met there for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And you got a rare
Yeah,
print. In fact, the print that you picked up there, if the people in the chat see it, they might get a little drooly because that one's hard to come by. That was a commission for a private client, and so there's only literally 100 of those floating around, and even the original carving, the carved linoleum, was part of the transaction. So the client owns the carving, so there's never going to be like more of those. Yeah.
Yeah, this is I think when I was putting it in the frame, it was 25 of 100. Nice
Nice number. There you go.
number. But yeah, when we saw your stuff, man, I was just like, whoa, this is, because I'm not a huge poster guy.
So unique. It's
like I have a couple posters, but it's not really a focus. But when I saw your stuff, I was like, this is like ancient, like Chinese style stuff. I need to have one of these. And I think I almost came back and bought another one. I think you had the Gamera one there too.
Yeah,
so I wanted to get 101.
Hey Colt, hey Bianca.
But yeah, man, I'm so happy to have one of these.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm stoked you got one. And that was when I was slinging them pretty inexpensive too. Like now it's like people are flipping those posters online.
I think I got that for $40.
Yeah, exactly. People are flipping them online for crazy prices now, which is cool, but it's also like it's wild. It's wild to think.
All right, so coming up on Kaiju Live Sunday.
Say again?
I said, so coming up on Kaiju Live on Sunday, if you want this attack.
Yeah, exactly. I tell people all the time, dude. Yeah, man, it's your investment if you want to flip it. I know you said you wouldn't, but feel free.
No, not at all. That's because that's one of my favorite Godzilla movies, and it also has the Exilion ship on it, which is our happy moment. So that's
right.
That's never leaving.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
You have to pry that from my cold dead hands.
I love it.
So yeah, I remember, so we had met there, which was our first 5 points ever. Really cool. Shout out to Mushi Brothers. We were meeting them up there, and then months later,
Crystal, like that.
months laso we saw you in the chat, and you're like, "Oh, let's attack Peter," and I was like, "Wait, dude, we met at 5 points?" So it's just crazy how it all just worked out, and then
it's a cool community, dude. It's a cool community, and I tell a lot of the people that I meet now through the poster sales, like there's an equally voracious and well connected community around the poster collecting, and I say, man, a lot of you guys will have a lot of fun in the kaiju vinyl and the figure collecting community because there's a lot of overlap. And there's a lot of that, like everybody knows somebody and whose collections got what and all that kind of stuff. And so that's part of the fun of doing the show tonight is I know a lot of folks are going to come over and check it out. And I'm sure they're going to be coming back for auctions later on.
Oh, I hope so. Hold on, we'll get some. If you're not familiar with Peter's stuff, we're going to get some B-roll going. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dad. I wasn't expecting you to join this show. Here, slide over. There you go. So this is some of.
Don't mind me.
I just got some of the.
You guys look like ketchup and mustard over there when you shrink.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they sure.
Throw us on a sandwich. So like with your particular style, like, was this something you like developed at a young age, or was this just like how did you basically come up with this and be like, I'm gonna perfect this and make this mine?
Well, what's funny is that was the almost finished version of the Mechagodzilla. You see the text hadn't been carved in yet.
And then the flying Mechagodzillas.
Yeah, that's cool, like we did 10 of those with that special stamp at the bottom. Yeah, man. But the style is called printmaking, and specifically it's linoleum block printmaking. So you carve linoleum, roll ink on it like you're making a giant stamp, and you press the paper onto it. And it's actually a technique that you teach that you learn in school when you're in elementary, and then sometimes you do it again in high school, and then you don't really usually do it again unless you study it intensely at the university level. And I know that because I taught for 13 years, all grades. I taught everything from kindergarten all the way to grad students at UM in Miami. And
awesome.
yeah. And so I always noticed that it was like everybody's favorite project every year and I think part of it is because there's so much different process involved. Like sometimes you're drawing, like you saw in that clip that you were playing, sometimes you're carving, sometimes you're printing. So there's a lot of different processes involved, and it keeps your brain kind of like flipping around. And it also doesn't require you to have to make the most realistic drawings for the final result to look good. So a lot of kids are less inhibited, and they'll try it,
Mm-hmm.
And but I never did printmaking as a kid. I did it in high school once, and then in college a couple times. But I actually fell in love with it again as a teacher, and I started to do it more and more. And I started to notice that when I would go to the local conventions in Miami, that no one was doing anything like it. So we went up and started. I set up a table in Artist Alley, and I had some paintings, some digital illustrations, and some prints like this, some block prints. And these would fly every show early. So little by little, I started to phase out everything else and do these block prints as my main offering at the shows, and it's been great. It's been awesome.
Yeah, man. There's the one that I have right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, your stuff is without a doubt eye catching. Like it just,
Yeah.
especially if you're just into like the old school monsters and everything. It to me, we'll talk about those guys later. To me, it just captures like the spirit of the old school movies. So yeah, I had to have it again. Not really a poster collector, but your stuff, I was like, yep, that's mine.
Well, thanks, man. Part of my fascination with all these movies, and especially a lot of the kaiju and 60s sci-fi stuff, is that clunkiness, that not polished nature of the movies. Like I like when the suits don't fit right, and I like when you see the tears, and I like when you see the strings. That stuff to me.
Yeah.
As a kid, I would watch those films. I'm 37, so I was watching them in the 80s and the early 90s, and I knew that they were like not on par with the movies that were coming out now. I mean, then, but I loved being able to see how everything was made by those errors. Like I liked knowing there was a guy in the suit and that there was a string next to the attached to the spaceship, because that made me feel like, oh, eventually, if I work hard enough, I could make stuff this cool because I can see how someone made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I like
Wow.
capturing that in the artwork and not always going. Sometimes I worry that if something looks too cool, too badass, and I'm like, make sure I balance the badass nature of something with the
Take care,
goofy,
kid
dorky
Doji.
side of something, so it's still fun. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like for instance, the giant Mecha Godzilla you got on your table. Like I love how
Exactly.
like it's weird because there's a part of me that's like, hey, Mechagodzilla is a robot, so he shouldn't have like they try to put in those like costume weaves and like
Yeah.
dents, and like I have like
All
a
that
love hate
stuff.
with it because like I love it because it's suit accurate for sure,
Yeah.
but then I'm just like, well, he's a robot though, so why don't you just
Uh,
not do that?
You're wrong.
As a
You're
team.
100% wrong. Don't make
Yeah.
me get Leslie on the phone.
Yeah.
Special
exactly.
guest calling in, phone a friend.
But yeah, no, this is exactly what I love. Like, and of course, if you watch Kaiju Live, you're obviously probably a big X Plus fan. That's what's so awesome about this line of figures. When I remember in my late teens when McFarlane was putting out all the movie Maniacs figures, and I remember thinking like, man, imagine if they did this with like King Kong and Godzilla and stuff like that, and and that was like early shitty internet days. There was not like
Yeah.
it's not like I could go online and find out what X Plus was and what they were doing. Although I think they were doing some Lovecraft stuff back then, right? Or something like Stan Winston or something like that, if I remember correctly. Something that was like
Maybe.
more mass produced, maybe. I don't know. But the point was that if I was dreaming about something like this existing, and the fact that like we have such cool collections of stuff like this, like this Gango I love so much because of that zipper. That's probably one of the best zippers you can get on an X Plus figure.
That's like that reminds me of the 64B suit of Godzilla, the 25 centimeter. That has one of like the perfect zippers like on the spines on the back, and you're like, yeah, that's cool.
That's a great figure.
So we just saw them just a second ago. I don't even know if I can freeze frame them, but let's talk about your own monster universe that you're building, essentially.
Yeah, Takaro is the monster you're probably referring to.
Absolutely.
I have here.
Oh, you have him there. All right, look, go big
I
screen.
got something here that some people haven't seen before. Like we did this collaboration recently with a guy named Bear Walker. If you don't know Bear Walker, he's awesome. He does like a lot of carved wood prints, skateboards, and he supplies a lot of like stuff like that to Hollywood shows and all that and movies. But
cool.
this is a test print that we haven't released, but it shows Takaro on it. So I designed, like, this is a good time to have this to talk about this because you guys will know some of this stuff. I was doing Designer Con a couple years ago, 2018, and I met James Groman there, and he became a friend. James Groman, you guys know James Groman, obviously. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Speaking of, before you get, did you see the Mad Monster project?
Oh my God, dude!
Hot Toys.
I don't know how someone doesn't just hire him. Like one of these big companies needs to just like hire him permanently and just keep him on salary to crank stuff out. But so he's amazing and a great dude. And for a year we spoke on the phone about doing licensed stuff and unlicensed stuff, and then creating original projects, because eventually the more you sell, the bigger your name gets out there. Eventually you're either going to get hired or get a cease and desist, and that's the way it works. Luckily, shout out Chris Mowry, luckily we got hired instead of a shut down. But eventually I realized, well, even if I did a print for every Godzilla movie that there is, eventually it would end, and I still want to do stuff with giant monsters, and I want to design my own. And so I was talking to James Groman, and I sent him a bunch of sketches that I was going to bring to last year's Designer Con to just pitch as a toy line to different companies. And one of them was a Takaro sketch, and I sent, it was digital drawing, and I sent it to him, and he goes, it's a cool design, but how are you going to set up all these cool, block prints that are handmade and then pitch your original design in a shitty little digital sketch? You got to have him equal footing with everybody. And I'm like, damn, that's great advice. So I carved one in the same composition of the Godzillas and the King Kong and the Gamera that I had that you were talking about, and I displayed them all together. And I sold out of those prints so fast, and I just kept one on display. And so that's when I met Skybound for the first time. One of the things that we talked about was, an original IP in the giant monster genre, and doing something contemporary that has a little bit of a different feel to it, and being able to build out a world or a universe through prints, the same way like you would build out a world through comic issues and then eventually collect them all as a graphic novel, but you get a little taste every issue.
Yeah.
Thinking about doing that as prints and then seeing if people would dig it and if it would catch on. And it's doing really well. Everybody we sell out of all the Takaro prints every time we release them. We've introduced different monsters. In fact, the last print that we did, I designed it as a collaboration with the live chat on YouTube. In fact, a lot of people in the chat now were there. And we created that new kaiju, that moth monster called shi-ga.
Shi-ga, yeah.
Even named by the name came from one of the folks in the chat, Colt. Shout out Colt. Came up with it. We put a poll in the Facebook group, and they voted on the name, and that one won out. And so that's the new name. That's the canon name for the kaiju, shi-ga. And so little by little, we're just building out this world, and I think early 2021, we're going to have a cool announcement about how much bigger we're going to be building out that world. Yeah. So it's going to be an awesome time for Takaro. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's we're kind of doing the same thing, similar with we haven't named the Ultraman-ish character yet. We've been meaning to do a naming contest. So yeah, he doesn't have a name yet. He's just that guy.
I like Frank.
Yeah.
I love it. Ultra Frank, dude.
But our Godzilla like monster is Evil Yujiak, which is Kaiju Live backwards.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, it just so worked out that way. So like we actually had. I
It
should have got the picture.
just worked out that way. What
Yeah.
did that with potluck?
Yeah, it just worked out that way.
I love that.
I don't actually. I'll try to dig up a picture. We're actually about to have him featured in an upcoming video game that's dropping on Steam.
That's gonna be so cool.
It's very similar to like the old school like King of the Monsters.
Dude.
So I cannot wait for that. I'm gonna see if I can pull up a picture on my phone.
What
but yeah.
happened to all those awesome video games, man? I remember a string of awesome Godzilla games, and even that. Was it called on the PS2? Was it called King of Monsters, or I forgot? It was like all generic kaiju that were not like, famous names, but it was really good. War of the Monsters, I think it was
Yeah,
called.
it's War of the Monsters. Yeah.
That was so fun, man. But that's awesome, dude. We need more of that.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about that because like we do like our little like game cast. Like we try to keep it for the most part kaiju related. We just started doing new games, like just random games for people to have fun
Heck yeah.
with. We got
It's
some
fun,
more
dude.
got some more squids. See
Yeah.
some squid emojis.
9K's got a good name for him. I like that one.
I'm telling you,
Forrester.
like, the community knows each other, and I'm sure there's quite
Frank
a few
Russo
people.
backwards.
Quite a few people who are fans of Kaiju Live who also are fans of video games, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, I love it. And then got some of your other. This is from Last
Oh,
of
yeah.
Us. This monster from Last of Us. Just your like the whole. It makes like my mind hurt. Like the fact that you basically are inverting the image, and like
Yeah,
can
exactly.
can actually like physically picture that in your mind as you're doing it. So I mean, obviously this is sped up, but even then, this would take me like 10 years to do. So it's just it's unreal.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's definitely a different way of thinking, and there are plenty of times where, you think you're doing something the right way, and then you realize last second it's backwards and in the wrong way. But yeah, like when I'm doing something like this, I don't really have to worry too much if it's to the left or right. Unless it's text, right? Or if there's something specific, like if I do a Hellboy print, Hellboy's big stone hand is on the right. You can't screw that up,
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, you can get away with things sometimes, but text is really important, obviously. And, it's even harder when it's like Japanese text, which I have to admit, I don't speak Japanese. I recognize certain symbols at this point, but like very, very, very roughly. And I'm constantly making mistakes in that regard. And and so, it is what it is. It's something that I try to get better at every time. But I have some friends that speak Japanese fluently. I'll even get things approved ahead of time by someone who speaks fluent Japanese. And even then, I'll have a friend say, not exactly. Yeah, you messed it up. That's you could have done better with the sizing. The sizing's off. And I feel like such a jackass doing it. So I think little by little, I'll probably phase some of that out or save it for like special occasions, just because I'm starting to feel like a real jackass when I get that stuff wrong. You know what I mean? However, when I went to Japan last year with my wife, a lot of people playing fast and loose with English over there. Okay, let's be honest.
That's right.
Let's
Okay.
be honest.
So-
We're all equal.
Turn
it
around
seems.
is fair play there.
You know what I'm saying? And at least my intentions, everybody's intentions are in the right spot. It doesn't matter to me if they're selling T-shirts that say Purple Monkey Dishwasher. I'm super cool with it. Let's go. You know what I mean?
So and the spot that we got going right now is like where you're inking it and rolling
Yeah.
all the ink on it, and then you basically turn into like this giant stamp, which is
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just fascinating, man.
It's great because, when I started it, part of what
Look at that.
enticed me about it. Yeah, right. Part of what enticed me about it is that as a business model, look, man, I grew up, I went to art school, and art school was super exclusionary. If like you weren't doing something weird and abstract, it's like that movie Art School Confidential, if anybody's ever seen it. It's exactly like that. Like anything that's representational that looks like something is trash, and everything that doesn't look like anything is great. And it was very exclusionary, and I would always picture bringing my uncle or my dad or my mom, and I'm like, these art professors would shit all over my parents and my uncle, my family. They wouldn't be really inclusive and explain anything. So when I started doing these prints, I realized not only is it cool because people get the material and they get the subject matter, but because I'm making multiples, like you just saw in that video, I can sell each print at a lower price point than an original one-of-a-kind painting or a one-of-a-kind drawing because I made the carving, which allows me to make multiples. And so all of a sudden, people who've maybe never owned handmade artwork now can get one for like the price of a digital print. And that was a really cool feeling for a long time. I love that part of it.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
it's incredible to watch.
Yeah, no, I can literally just have that video on loop the whole time, and then we don't have to talk. We can just watch the video together.
Feel free to run all my videos on loop on YouTube. Just keep playing. Feel free. We need those watch hours up.
Yeah, if you're just the Kaiju Live fan and are new to Peter, definitely subscribe over to his channel. He has some great content as well. Actually, I just wanted to thank you because, we were talking and. You and Kyle over at Collect All Monsters have really
Kyle.
really just been like pushing me to just if anyone's watching the stream layout's new, just kind of pushing me to really embrace it and go the whole 9. I can't
9 yards, yeah.
And that interview that you did with, was it Chris Doe? Am I saying his name right?
Yeah.
That interview, I was actually listening to the whole thing while I was creating stream layouts.
Heck yeah, man.
If you're a new content creator, 100% listen to that interview because the knowledge that's in there is just, it's always like the hater thing. Everyone's always going to put you down and you just got to push through. Like, my dad said video games were a joke. And if I just would have kept playing video games.
Way to go, Frank.
I used to run tournaments. I made a couple top 8s in some of these big tournaments. And then you get married, you have kids, you get like, all right, can't do that anymore. And, but
I would venture that kind of stuff. Not to interrupt you, but I would venture to say, I would venture to say, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, chat, let me know, especially the people who watch Kaiju Live all the time. You kind of stumbled onto something super unique and niche that doesn't exist elsewhere and has a targeted audience of people that just like I come and watch the show just to hang. I always bid on something, but some son of a always outbids me and snipes me. So it's like, I'm like, okay. And the last time it happened was the companion Gomorrah for this Red King. Look at this orphan. He doesn't have his family now. I mean, I had to be a big shot and do a kill shot in front of every. Okay, thanks. So, but I would say that having said everything that you just said, it's amazing because this thing is rare. There's not another thing like it online. It's super fun. You could like mutate it into different ways. You could do it with different collectibles. It doesn't always have to be buying. It could just be like a really cool show and tell. I love you and your dad on together is great because it's such a real, obvious relationship, and you both know your stuff is awesome. And I don't know, man. I think it's great. So that's why to double back on what you were saying. Hell yeah, you got to double down on what you're doing and push it so it's the best version of it that it can be, because it's fun. People like me like watching it. I get a lot of value that you upgraded all this stuff and you're gonna do this. And when I saw you do the review for the figure, eating your humble pie and your crow, admitting that you were wrong about the all that is great. All that's great. I'm telling you, it's all great. When your dad calls in and the whole thing gets like. The videos go crazy. I love all that. It's so good.
It's all staged.
It's brilliant. I would say that you said your dad crapped all over the idea of video games. I would like an episode once a week about your dad telling stories like that, or just picking something out that's modern or contemporary that he does like. I would pay. You could put it behind a Patreon wall. Listen to me. You're laughing, but I'm serious. I would pay to watch a video of your dad reviewing a new app, like getting Skype to work.
Jeez.
I would love it. Frank, it's a gold mine. You know what I'm saying? I love it. It's so
I was
good.
about to throw my phone and go upstairs. I couldn't get the app on.
You know how much we paid for that 3-minute Tyson Holyfield fight? I would do the same thing, pay-per-view.
Ronda Rousey fight, 3 seconds.
That's what I'm saying.
Back in the day.
Let them fight, dude. Frank versus.
Yeah. All right, Dad. Here's this new streaming app. Let's see how long it takes you to get to the.
Oh man, I love it, dude.
Oh man.
Really great. Man.
So, with going back to your MonsterVerse, like, so what's like the origin and story behind Takaro? Like,
so, do you guys remember Dino Riders?
Yes, that sounds really familiar.
So, like when I was a kid, one of my favorite shows was Dino Riders, and it was basically like one part Flash Gordon and He-Man meets, just dinosaurs. And it was the best, in my opinion, of all the things that I loved. It was the IP that made me most curious about what else was happening in the world, because it only kind of grazed the surface of the story. And essentially, it was just aliens fighting humans on a planet and using dinosaurs as their like vehicles and allies and all that kind of stuff. And if you look at the toys, they're so cool. They're just big, like dinosaurs with like tanks and missiles and things on them. It's so good. And I always thought, man, it'd be so cool to have like an open-ended property like that. That's not so cerebral. It's just basically like a toy box. And I would like a toy box to play in with my artwork. It's just giant monsters, cool soldiers and warriors and aliens and tribes and all that kind of stuff. And so I started like with Takaro, and I just said, let's see if anybody cares about this. Put it out. And they did. So let's come up with a different, monster. And so I had this two-headed turtle, giant turtle monster named Akukame, which translates into demon turtle, right? It's basically, I just want to have my own Gamera. Who has the rights to Gamera? I've done all these Godzilla posters, and I don't know anybody who has the rights to Gamera. I want to do Gamera stuff, but since we don't know where they are, they don't have a deal with Mondo, I'm just going to make my own turtle, right? And 2 heads, right? You can't sue that. If they even come sniffing, I'll add another head. I'll keep adding heads until it's different enough. You know what I'm saying?
Extra limbs, yeah.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And so essentially, I just wanted to have like fun, and then along the way, I started thinking, well, what's different enough from this to all the great IPs that are out there and still kicking and still churning, And so I said, well, I know that like my students in high school, they kind of enjoy that stuff when I would play it in the background while they were taking tests. I would play like whatever was like bootlegged on YouTube, like the old Gamera movies or Ultraman episodes that were on YouTube in the background with no music on. So they were like, what the hell's going on, sir? I can't focus on my test. But they kind of enjoyed it. They didn't know what it was. And I said, if there was only a way to get like that genre and that fun content and get young people like super psyched again. And I started thinking about how I deliver it. So like YouTube, getting people involved, helping them design it with me. All of that I think is just a different delivery, a different like flavor of the same classic stuff that I've always loved. And look, so far everybody's stoked on it, and I get to keep doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it that way. But I'm still building it. The answer is there's not a whole there's an idea, there's a story that we're working on right now. And we've mapped out some really cool things. But it started off just like, if I could have one shot at designing a monster, what would it look like? And that's what Takaro was. I love octopus and squid and all that. And there's Takora, which I'm going to talk about on my stream tomorrow. But Takora sucks, dude. Like look at that guy. Like, no offense, if you're a Takara fan and like you love him, like you love that one weird cousin you have that can't get his act together, you're like, Takara, right? But the funny thing is, like, I'm not gonna worry about that guy. I just took off the A, added the O, boom, Takaro. And he's tough, he's cool, he's got like a big mech suit. No one understands why. Why is there a giant eye there? Is it doing anything?
He reminds me of like Krang from Ninja Turtles. Got really pissed off. I was like, screw it, I'm taking over myself. Like,
right, yeah. And it reminds me, like, you remember Battle Beasts? Those little figures that you would like wipe their chest with a hologram. It's definitely influenced by toys, even more so than the films and properties that I used to watch as a movie. Like, if this becomes a toy one day, like a 30 centimeter or even a gigantic, I'm done. I'm out. I can't do better than that. And that's it.
Yeah, we actually.
That'd be awesome.
Speaking of toys, for all you Kaiju Live listeners, We actually have a Evil Ujiak 4-inch resin figure coming this holiday season. So I'm really pumped about that. And then at some point, we also want to get like, you know, a standard 9-inch or maybe like this big robot monster. Or I don't know if you've, you know, we can get Evil Ujiak. I don't know if it's going to show up on the green screen. Let's see.
Dude, let's go. Let's get Dope Pope on that. Yeah.
This thing.
I have severe FOMO about that, man. I slept on it.
It's still available, sir.
Oh yeah, for real? I thought they were sold out.
No, I still got. I think I got 8 of these left.
I'm gonna hit. Well, you got 7. I'm gonna hit you up after this.
Sounds good. This is, and the mouth moves, by the way. Feed
so
me.
Cool, man. That is so good, dude.
Yeah, this is
the Lord's work, dude.
It's classic.
Marmot is back.
It is. So cool, man. Can you talk about that? Marmot's back?
No, I can't.
I figured it's like.
Because I don't think it's like official.
Yeah.
And then we have this guy, which is our first ever exclusive. You could only get this version from us.
I love that.
I'm super jazzed about this.
I'm loving this trend, dude.
Have you ever seen this movie? Though
I have not. I know the figure. I know the monster. I've seen it like on merch and shirts my whole life. Never watched the film.
So my recommendation is just get plastered and watch the Mystery Science Theater version.
Oh, that's why I've seen it. I watched all Mystery Science. Yeah.
That's how I saw it too. When I was like, I've seen this character before. The movie is horrendous, but my God, it's so classic, and he comes out with like a bubble machine. It's amazing. I think they filmed this movie with
that is terrifying.
I think it's pretty classic and iconic design too, man. You slap a skull in anything and you're golden.
Well, ironically, that was like the poster version was the skull. They didn't even have the actual movie didn't have it. It had this. That's what's cool about this figure too, is it has both heads. So like he was just in the space helmet. This is like the poster.
That's what's cool about this show. That's what's cool about the show. I was telling people in my live chat earlier, I'm like, you got to watch Kaiju Live because you learn stuff by the figures that are put on to bid on. It's so good. It's like it's really a full education. I love that.
One of my favorite features that they did with this, I'm sorry, that what you said? Is like you don't gotta like go crazy and like heat up the heads or anything. They created a little like button top, and he's got like 2 grooves that go right into his neck, and you just like pop, and that's it, done. So it's,
X Plus, pay attention.
X Plus needs to do magnets, man. Magnets. I'm tired of heating up tails. Like,
everybody message Jeremy Souls right now.
Do you have any Sideshow premium formats in your collection?
I got the K2SO, the big one. I love that thing. Yeah.
So like I'm sure it had magnets, right?
Yeah, it has magnets. Yeah. I prefer vinyl, but if you put vinyl and magnets together, now we're talking. This is what we need to do. This is the kind of engineering we need. You can do it.
We're gonna start a competitive company called F Plus. Is that no? We can't do that.
I'm telling you, Kaiju Live Toys is next.
I like it.
Well, I mean, that is kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to be more than, we're trying to grow. We're trying to bring exclusive stuff that, you can really just get through us. And not just our monsters. I cannot wait to have the Ujiak figure. I'm super pumped about that. But yeah, man, it's something we're definitely looking into.
Well, think about this. Yeah. I talk to some buddies about this all the time. Like for someone like me, like I'm a fan, but I'm not so smart and plugged in that I know how to get like a new Marusan figure, or you know what I'm saying? It's like it's still hard for me to like navigate those seas. So it's like right?
It's hard for us too. I mean, we do our best.
Right. And you guys know. So imagine you are coming out with new vinyl figures. You already have a platform. Like one of the reasons like the Attack Peter YouTube channel is doing well and getting bigger little by little is because I've made it the exclusive place to buy my prints now. You got to go watch the episode live. We drop a secret link in the chat now. So bots can't get it and flip it and all that. And people buy it there, and we drop it at the end of the stream. We force them to suffer our nonsense for an hour, and at the end they get to buy the print, and everybody's happy, and it's like a happy moment, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you're already set up for it. So now you bring in the content, the product, and you host it on your episode. Your numbers are going to go up. You're set up.
I might have to. It sounds like we'll have to take that idea maybe. But yeah, I watched your show. Sure. Was it last Wednesday or Thursday? And you dropped that Takuro shi-ga print, and it was gone in, I don't even know, 5 minutes, if even that, if it lasted that long. And you had what, 50 of them?
That's because we put, we're learning every episode. Like, the good thing about the community that's built around these collectibles is they'll let you know when you need to step up your game in terms of how you package something, sell something, drop something in a store. And one of the things we've been working on, shout out to Skybound and the team there, who's always like evolving how we do things, is we have a secret link that we drop now. Like, we don't publish the link, we don't put the item up until we say on the show and the item's live. Then we put the link in the chat and everybody can go. And it was great. It was great. And it's still sold out in 5 minutes. But dude, 5 minutes compared to seconds when you're competing with bots and people who are going to flip things on eBay is a ton of time.
Yeah. So, when I was talking to some of our members about like the upcoming chat with you, a lot of people mentioned like they always want to try to get your Mondo stuff, but it's basically gone and it's impossible. There's the turtle. There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh, so we got a
two heads. Don't sue.
Yeah, there he is. There's the new print that sold out instantly. Mm-hmm. Which I love, like the story behind it that you were telling, like with all the extra characters around that. Fighting and helping. So
that's from loving Where's Waldo books when I was a kid. There's a main action point, and then if you keep looking around, you see tons of other stuff. So little by little, more of that, hopefully.
So question from the chat. I like that. What is your favorite kaiju film? Or you want to narrow it down? Favorite Godzilla film? Gamera film?
This is what we're gonna do. This is the forum to really get into this, AJ. You understand what I'm saying? I can't just go on talking with the folks at Mondo and start talking deep kaiju stuff. It's not the right place, and so here we can talk about this. Here's what I feel like, and I want to get some feedback, maybe some pushback from the audience. And David, I expect to hear what you have to say on this because I know you'll hold me to it. I feel like the best made kaiju film of all time that is rewatchable over and over again. Now you have to take all your bias out. Okay.
It's a hot take coming.
It is not emotional. You can't be emotional. Okay. You got to be scientific about this. I feel like the best kaiju film of all time is Pacific Rim by Guillermo del Toro. Listen to me. AJ, you're not being reasonable. You're trying to impress your fans right now, okay? I see what you're doing.
No.
I didn't say it was my favorite.
AJ actually has those pajamas. So.
I didn't say favorite. I said the best kaiju film ever made. Best made, dude. Now, what does that mean? In 10 years, it'll get knocked off because we'll have better story, better technology, and all that, yada, yada, yada. But to this point, now, favorite kaiju movie of all time is a Godzilla movie. And it is Son of Godzilla. Actually, it's Godzilla versus this monster. So with Ibira and Godzilla, that's my favorite. But I do love Son of Godzilla.
That movie
Anytime Godzilla's on the beach, on an island, that's my favorite stuff. I don't know why. Anything in the ocean, tropical, it's got to be Showa. It's got to be the 60s and 70s. And everything else I love, but that's my sweet spot. Godzilla versus the sea monster, Ibira, Horror of the Deep. Frank, how did I do?
No, that's cool. Well, I like that one too.
What's your favorite? What do you got?
Me? I don't know if I could pick one. I mean, I like Godzilla vs. Destroyer. I mean, it's it's just all the special effects and everything.
Do you lean
Destroyer, I
Heisei?
think, it's a great kaiju. Let's see what else. Of course, 62. If I'm going to pick a Showa film, I'll pick 62. Kong.
Big controversy.
I do love that.
I know. GMK I thought was pretty cool.
Which one?
GMK.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know the cool thing to say, AJ, and I know what you wanted me to say here is Godzilla vs. Mothra 64.
No.
I know.
That's okay.
You're not rattling any cages with that
that's
answer.
Leslie's
you understand?
show.
Hold on. If you want to be safe, is this going to be Kaiju safe live? You didn't bring me on for safe answers. Dan?
That's right.
Pacific Rim.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you paint yourself into a corner here, like you did with the Mechagodzilla Gigantic. Go ahead.
To say Pacific Rim is the best made kaiju film.
Go on. To this day.
I just can't. When Gamera 2 exists, how?
Gamera 2 is excellent.
How? How do you... Pacific Rim has basically one character. All of them are soulless. And then you finally about to have...
All of them are not soulless. Not all of them.
Aside from the Russian robot, there is nothing. That's the only one that actually oozes character.
Are you kidding? I would say this is why. Let me further state my case. Catch up, okay? Listen to me. Listen to me. Pacific Rim was a love letter to all the kaiju movie that we loved growing up. Okay. Yeah, the Gamera trilogy is probably like the other safe answer, and those are great films. I'm a huge Gamera fan. I have a Gamera tattoo, right? So I'm a real deal. But what I'm saying is that Guillermo del Toro is by far the best filmmaker of all of these films, and because of that, he could have gone more serious with that movie. He could have made it like a serious thing and like Oscar bait and all that. But it's fun, it's anime, it's crazy. It's one part Gamera, one part Evangelion, one part Ultraman and Godzilla. I'm just saying it's the best made film to this point.
I think that's my issue with it. Is it tries to give too much fan service to everything, and then like the finale for me was like, all right, we're getting all the mechs together, we're dropping them in, we're all gonna fight, and then they're like, no, we're gonna drop them in one at a time and see how that works. And I'm just like, I just want to see. Like,
man, Guy Davis kaiju designs are really good. Now, let me ask you this. Here's a hot take. Here's a question. I'm going to put you on the spot. I know things have changed. Now, with the Gamera box set just coming out, right? Which I love the artwork on it, by the way. Shout out Matt Frank. I'm sorry, Vampire Robots.
If anyone watches the show, I'm the biggest Matt Frank fan. Our picture that you see behind us and our new logo, that's all Matt Frank. I gave him free reign to turn our logo, the classic logo that you have on your shirt, into, monsters that we can call our own and not just, Ultraman Victory and Godzilla, with a little horn on his head. So go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, so now in the new post box set era, you've had a chance possibly to rewatch some films. Where do you stand on Gamera the Brave?
I hate it. Okay, let me rephrase.
Hold on. No.
Frank. Can't. Okay. It's turning into a new show. We gotta just.
I told you to mix it up. Frank, where do you stand on Gamera
smart
the
people
Brave?
On Gamera the Brave?
Yeah. How do you feel?
Again, I just enjoy all these. It's fantasy. I mean,
that's not a
it's
critic
not supposed to be real,
That's true. It's not supposed to be real.
So I like all the movies. I really do.
I think the mental block that I have with Gamera the Brave, and I actually one of the first live chat I ever had was actually with Matt Frank because of that box set. I was like, hey man, like, you want to talk about it? And I was like, yeah. It's like, all right, sweet, let's do it. And he actually said they were considering this, but it didn't happen. I can't get over the fact that they just used like a 1950 generic monster roar instead of Gamera's classic roar. It just every time I hear it, I just get angry. Like I can't like get past it. I'm just like, why did you pick this like, you know,
I'm gonna tell you why I love it.
no,
I'll tell you why I love it.
it's a good movie. It's just
It is
the
a good
roar,
movie.
The roar bothers me.
Okay, The Roar.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead and mute it next time you watch it. Get ready to mute it and then
Well,
enjoy the film.
Well, that was what they were actually they were considering putting his roar in and changing it.
I mean, that would be cool. That'd be cool.
As like a fan of it.
I because I was not like so in tune with a lot of the common opinions of these films until recently. I'm having a good time seeing where everybody stands with my just naivety, right? But I love that movie, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I feel like that movie, if it had come out, I feel like that movie has a better chance to get young people into kaiju movies and monster movies and Gamera in general. Better than a lot of the. It's the same way like when Marvel relaunched all their comics with the Ultimate Comics. You remember those? Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember I was working at a comic book store. I remember people lost their mind. Oh, this is not canon. Nothing makes sense anymore. The sky's falling. And the comics blew up. The readership blew up because of that, because people felt like, oh, thank God I don't have to read 800 issues of continuity to know what's going on in this. The Green Lantern, no one knows what's going on. You have to do a rebirth, right?
Yeah.
And so Gamera the Brave to me is cool because it acknowledges the film's past without going too deep into the lore, but it kind of starts something fresh, and it's fun and it's for kids, but it's still enjoyable if you're a fan of kaiju movies. And there's like real stakes involved and like a real cool connection again with Gamera and the kid, and I feel like that movie does not get enough love because of little things that I agree with. I agree with you on the roar. Give them the roar. But I also like the idea that it's something fresh, start the slate clean. We got to get Gamera back, you guys. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, did you
Where's
see
our
that?
new Gamera?
Did you see that trailer a couple years ago?
Years ago, dude. Where is
it was like, why? I know.
Yeah.
I
can't do it like that, though.
Gamera the Brave is the closest we ever came to like Godzilla vs. Gamera. Zetus is very Godzilla-ish.
Yeah.
Except he just has a giant tongue instead of radioactive breath. But it's.
I also think one of the greatest kaiju movies of all time. I know it's not going to be popular. Skull Island, Kong Skull Island, fantastic.
That's in terms of the MonsterVerse. That's my favorite movie.
It is the best one.
Oh yeah, it's. I think it has the best cast. It's the best. Like it actually has human characters that you actually care about. Which.
How about Best Kong?
Yeah. The best Kong aside from the original. I still love the original movie. Like.
Of course. I mean, look, we don't have to crap on the originals to like lift it. I'm just saying this is how you keep the legacy going.
Like the Kong design is absolutely fantastic.
Love it. One of my favorite figures too.
I really hope they do. I really hope this new movie doesn't.
Hey, Joseph.
It's gonna be great.
Matt, Joseph, what's up? I hope so, man. How did you feel about King of the Monsters since we're getting into movies all of a sudden?
My biggest beef with King of the Monsters, and I only started with that just for a frame of reference, is that I felt like we saw the whole movie before the movie came out with all the trailers. Those are some of the greatest trailers ever made in the history of trailers, period. Those trailers were outrageous. And then they doubled down. It's like they were so insecure that people were going to see this movie. They showed the entire Ghidorah ice sequence in front of another movie. Like, I forgot what it was. I went to see a movie, and I go, I didn't ask for this. I'm going to go see the movie. What are you doing?
Yeah,
and
the
whole
IMAX exclusive.
What the heck? And so when I go to see the film, now, without all that context, just enjoying the film for what it is, I don't love the characters in that, the human characters in that movie, except for Watanabe. I think he's always pretty good.
Yeah.
I do love how they build out the lore a little bit more, like way more than they did in 2014. But my problem with both those movies is like, man, you nailed kick-ass designs. Like you made characters that can be kind of dorky and corny, sometimes sound like look really cool. Like you can't argue with it. I love the dorky stuff, but I know mainstream audiences might not care for it. But this is inarguable. Everybody looks great. and you ruined it. Like, well, I don't say ruined it, but you really pushed people's tolerance with these bad characters and lame storylines. Having said that, I had a blast watching it, and I could watch it again. I love it. I mean, I love watching those films, but I can turn my brain into a certain frame of mind where I just enjoy it. I don't think about it. The
Right.
2014
Yeah, me too.
one though, 2014 one, you can't have it both ways. You have to have either Godzilla on screen or Bryan Cranston on screen. You don't get to kill Bryan Cranston and then have
Yeah.
large stretches of time where we don't with Kick-Ass, running
Yeah,
around like a lunatic. No.
I don't get that movie where, because I was so ready for like the scientist team up between
Heck yeah.
him and Serizawa. I was like, oh man, finally we're gonna get. I really thought we're gonna get finally like a scientist perspective, because it's always the military perspective. Like 90% of all kaiju movies are always
Yeah.
like, well, I gotta shoot stuff at it. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, I don't know how many times you're gonna learn that don't work, but
And there's
um,
really good actors in those films. It's just that they're like, I don't know, there's something not happening there.
well,
The funny thing is, I even heard an interview with Bryan Cranston on Howard Stern and talking about it. And he said that, and he's pretty humble and polite and diplomatic. And he said that he had problems with the script from day one. He goes, how are you going to have like this character get killed off so early? His story with his son is the emotional tether of the film. You can't get rid of that in the first 20 minutes and then not what is it? And then he said that people were coming at him saying like, okay, you don't want your character killed off. Okay, but it wasn't about that. And
nah,
look, he was right.
yeah, he's not that kind of guy. He's not Will Smith in
Nah.
Suicide Squad. But like, yeah, every character in that movie is like a exposition character. Everyone's just there to tell you what the next scene's gonna be.
So
And
it
like,
was really
especially
fun.
like the again, I don't want to nitpick it because I enjoy the movie.
Go for
but,
it, AJ.
Like the whole
Don't
scene,
hold back.
the whole scene that the wife like gets in front of them and like is telling you like everything, and she has like all these montages lined up, everything to like tell you her diabolical plan, and I'm just like, come on, man, like you just gotta
Part of
turn.
me
It's
Part of me
just
doesn't
like,
understand if it's a stylistic choice, like they're trying to harken back to cheesy sci-fi films, but it doesn't come off the right way. It doesn't come off the right way, which is crazy because Michael Dougherty's movies are so fun and entertaining. I don't know if you've watched like Krampus.
oh, we watch that every Christmas.
It's
That's
so
our-
good and it
that's
has
our
no
Krampus
business.
movie.
Yeah, it has no business being that good. And then Trick or Treat. That's a
Yeah.
great movie. Again, like
I-
no business being that good.
Have you seen the deleted scenes from King of the Monsters? Like the two big ones with the mother and the daughter, and then even the father when he gets knocked out.
Yeah. Good.
If you watch those two scenes, they're in a completely different tone, and
Mm.
they have more character development in those like 4 minutes that both of those are than the entire movie. So like, my theory is he wanted to do like a 3-hour long movie. They didn't do it, so he gave us like a supercut fan edit. Basically, he was like, "All right,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give all the fans as many Easter eggs and as much Godzilla shit as I possibly can, and fuck it."
That's true.
It's like,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Look, the good news is, I mean, the truth is, I'm gonna pay and see it opening night every time. Anytime there's a giant monster. You know what movie never gets talked about that I regret passing on because I should have been there to support giant monster movies? Is that Anne Hathaway movie, Colossal? Did you ever see that movie?
that movie's great.
That movie's excellent, and no one understands until they see that movie is great.
Have you ever seen that movie, Dave?
Oh,
Oh,
Maybe
Frank,
we'll
you gotta
that
watch.
tomorrow.
no,
It's like
no, I would.
it's like a very. It takes like a really big twist that you're not really expecting, and you're like, "Whoa, this guy!"
Don't even say that much.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
good.
It's got really
Watch
deep
that
real quick.
movie.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that. That is true. That's a very no one talks about that movie.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? Like that movie, you could tell is made by people who actually love the genre because the monster's awesome. It looks cool.
Yeah.
It moves like a man in a suit, and it's got like a lot of the tropes that you love without the technology like suffering. It's awesome. It's a great movie, dude. No one talks about that movie.
I agree.
Interesting.
Frank, you're gonna love it.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Let's see what are bullet points that I got here, because now we're going on a whole other tangent. Because I can talk movies all night. From stuff that I love, like my favorite Godzilla movie is.
Yeah, we didn't get yours.
It's hard. Uh, it's my favorite suit is 64, so I always lean to that movie because
That's a
I
great
love that
movie,
movie.
dude. No kidding.
But I honestly I think the movie that I've watched the most and just can always put it on is is Mechagodzilla 74. Like
That's a
the
great. That's a fun movie, dude.
the music in that movie is so good. Like I watched it. That's actually like Abby's favorite movie. My daughter, she loves like King Caesar. Like we just fast forward to the big fight scene at the end, and she's like, "Puppy, giant puppy." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yes." Um,
That is another one, dude. To me, that little run of films is just so good, dude. That era. I love Godzilla vs. Smog Monster. I don't know, man. I could just get into a different headspace with those. Like the way you were talking about the Mystery Science Theater, screenings. Like I can get into a different headspace and just enjoy the heck out of the whole thing. But it's the same way I can watch old Star Trek TOS and still like just get into it, dude. It's really good.
I mentioned Godzilla 64 and Leslie Chambers pops in the chat. You can't. It's like you guys got it on. His ears ring whenever you mention 64. Yeah. He's like, whoa! Who's talking shit? Who's talking?
He has a phone in his room with all the figures. It just says 64 on it. Only 2 numbers to dial.
Yeah.
What up, Leslie? Big fan, dude.
Yeah, Leslie's the man.
So yeah, man, that's great, dude. Yeah, but the funny thing is to me is like I really love all the movies the same. Like to me, they're all just like it's one vibe, and I like all that vibe. But it's about like the different monster designs. And the other thing I feel like is that some of the best kaiju designs that are super underappreciated are the Ultra Kaiju, like the Ultraman Kaiju, especially the from from Ultra, the original Ultraman series, and Ultra Q and Ultra 7. Like to me, there are few characters that I love more in all of kaiju than these two guys right here. Am I on camera? There we go.
Oh,
Bemular,
hold on, let me blow it up,
dude.
Bemular.
That to me, like Bemular, like is the favorite of the house. My wife is a huge Bemular fan. We have all these Bemulars all over the house. But like Gango and Bemular, dude, like that's so good. 2 great kaiju from one suit. Look at that.
That's the one thing me and Dad are not very versed in is actually Ultraman. I bought the Ultra Q, and I've been meaning to watch that to like really get started because the first Ultraman thing that I ever got exposed to was the SNES Super Nintendo fighting game.
Yeah.
That I always loved that game. I remember there was even American toys for that game because I remember having them.
Yes.
There was a show in the 90s on like Fox Kids or something that when Power Rangers was popular, they brought like a version of Ultraman, and that's how I discovered it. It was like a 90s Americanized version.
And then my grandma, who was a sci-fi like horror junkie, all she ever had on in her house was the Sci-Fi Channel. So I was terrified as a child. She had she had this anime Ultraman where he had like a star on his head, but he was still considered Ultraman. And I watched that a lot.
With the little cartoon Pigmon.
Was that? I don't really remember it that much, but I remember that movie with he had the star and there was like this giant beast that he fought at the end. But yeah, that's something we have to get more versed in.
To me, I love Ultra Q, which Ultra Q is kind of like an X-Files Twilight Zone thing. Like it's a monster of the week, and it's more like, that kind of thing. But Ultraman is Ultraman, and that's after Ultra Q. And so Ultraman is so good because it's funny. The characters are awesome. I really think that first season of Ultraman and Ultra 7 people love too, but for me, like the first season of Ultraman is some of the best kaiju anything that ever existed. Those characters are great. They're funny as heck. The heroes are great. The monsters are awesome and terrible in the best way possible. I mean, Alien Bolton, like it's like a Scooby-Doo meets kaiju. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody, there's a different type of villain every week, and it's like they have all different powers and things, and it's so good. And you can get it on Prime. I mean, unless you sub to the Tokusatsu channel, I don't sub to it. I just bought the whole season on Amazon Prime and I watch it. Just it's so entertaining, dude. And I can speak like again, my wife loves a lot of the stuff that I love, but she will sit down and have a good time watching Ultraman episodes. I'm telling you, dude.
I like how you installed like her camera and everything, and now she's got
Yeah.
like her own setup in the corner.
Just like you guys do. Well, you had the whole family on. I thought the same thing. It's a family affair, dude.
Yeah, we actually just when we changed the setup, we actually kind of blocked her off with the monitors. So now we actually moved it to get her view back. Because the last couple of shows, she wasn't feeling the love. We could sense it, so we had to change it up.
I'm telling you, that's all fun. All the popping in. It reminds me like when I was a kid watching Pee-wee's Playhouse, and everybody comes to visit and hang out.
Question in the chat. I don't know who this character is. Anyone see Zarkor? I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. No, Matt. I've never seen that one. I don't know what that is.
I haven't seen that. Tiga was the one in the 90s. Yeah, that's probably the one.
Oh, and Joseph, yeah. Ultraman Joe. Yeah, that was most likely it.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Do you watch Kaiju TV? Because like, if you ever want to watch just like obscure stuff, man, Joseph's is streaming 24/7.
No way! I gotta subscribe. Joseph, send me a message so I can check it out.
Yeah, man. He's there's not a movie or reference alive that I don't think Joseph can pull. He's
Absolutely.
Encyclopedia of all kaiju related.
Pete, who's that guy to your right with the flower belly?
Oh, dude, I'm so glad you asked. This to me is one of the greatest kaiju figures that I've ever like held in my hand. I got it for, in my opinion, a steal. This is a Max Toyko, Mark Nagata, I think.
Oh.
And Astromons from Ultraman. But you don't even have to like be a fan of Ultraman or know to just like really appreciate this figure. It's chunky figure. It's big. You know, let me give you like a size reference. So here's the Hedorah, right? So it's big,
beefy,
and it's got a great paint job.
Nice colors,
like
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's got like a matte finish all around, and the flower in the middle is like glossy, you know, so it's like a cool contrast. And I think the whole figure cost me, I want to say $75 maybe. Like I think even shipped. It was a steal. And I think he still has a couple. I tell people all the time, like this is a figure, man. This thing stands out in my collection. I love it.
It sparks joy.
It does spark joy, dude. Happy. I love it. But yeah, man, that's a great one. You know what else I really like? Let me show you this guy. These guys. Shout out Anthony from Otaku America. I got these off of him.
Nice.
This is a Gomera and the Miklas.
We just had him a couple shows ago, right? The deluxe with the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Micros is that's one of Kelly's favorite. Here's one. This is actually,
Dude.
yeah, Micros is awesome.
It's ridiculous.
This is actually Kelly's actual purchase at G Fest.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Yeah. It's a wind up, walks and everything.
I love it, dude. There's something about those character designs that are so good. Look. These are some really good ones too. So this one, shout out Boone Velvet. I got this Gango. I love this design. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's like a totem kaiju, basically.
Yeah, dude. You got to see this episode, by the way. It's ridiculous. From Ultraman.
What did you think of the anime that was on? Well, I guess not really anime, but
the
CGI
Netflix
show.
one?
Yeah,
it's cool. I enjoyed it, but again, like that's not what I'm here for. Like I enjoyed it, but that's not what I'm like.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really hope season 2 has like giant monster fights. Like you need to have. It's so weird that they like talk about it in the beginning, and then they're like, and now they're just 8 feet tall, and you're like, what? Why? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's cool. Like and even in the original series, like sometimes the monsters are not huge. Like Alien Bolton is not always gigantic. He shrinks down to human size, and he's like trolls everybody. It's pretty, and he has a great laugh. It's hilarious. Look at this, dude. Come on.
There it is.
Oh yeah, one of the most unique figures I think we ever sold on the show was that one, but it was it changed color with heat. So he was brown, and then if you heated him up, he turned orange.
Dude, there's something like for me as a collector, like I want Huh?
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like I love having like one at least representation of all the monsters and kaiju that I love, but sometimes there's a character like this and like Gango. Like I want every version I could find of this. I gotta get that X Plus one day. I don't think
Who
it'll
makes
be
that one,
better
Peter?
than this. Huh? This one is this is
Mariah?
yeah, super right. This is
Okay.
yeah.
That is cool.
But I got this one's from Anthony too, Taku America. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we
He's got a lot of
always
money.
talk. We always talk about Dino Tank because it was
So
joke.
good.
It's just like who woke up and was like, all right, guys, this is my idea. I got this tank, and I got this lizard, and we're just gonna slap them together, and we're gonna make it work.
But do you think this guy woke up and gave a rat's ass about anybody else's opinion of him? Think about that. You were talking about haters and doubling down on what you were passionate about. Do you think the genius behind Dino Tank gave a rat's ass about anybody? He said, hey, you know what we're going to do? Forget it. Forget this giant walking this and that. No. What's great? What does everybody love? Everybody loves dinosaurs. Everyone likes tanks. Boom. What are we doing here, guys? Lunch. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way you get that. If you think too much, you don't get this.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. You just
let it go.
Just let it go. That is
Gotta
probably
let
my
it
problem,
happen.
man. I'm an overanalyzer. I can't stop sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I say you just have to be like accountable to the first thing that comes out of your mind sometimes. You know what helps with that? Like hardcore deadlines. I have to get something done by a certain time. I have a few ideas, but I got to pick one. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Yep.
I'm fascinated listening to interviews with creators and people who've been successful and failed and all that. Man, you think that these people are geniuses sitting around with all these great ideas. They're not. They're screwing up all the time. They're failing forward fast, man. You know, I got a chance on my show to talk to Brian Volk-Weiss. And if you don't know Brian Volk-Weiss, he's the guy who created the show The Toys That Made Us on Netflix.
Yeah,
And
I've
the
been meaning
movie
to watch that one.
Oh, that show that he came up with is one of my favorite shows. I mean, like the way he gets these stories and the documentaries they put together, so excellent. But I wanted to talk to him because I'm like, I found out this guy was a comedy producer for most of his career, producing like huge stand-up shows for every giant comedian you can think of. He produced it. And I go, I can't wait to talk to him about it. I'm sure he was a stand-up, an aspiring stand-up comic at some point. Nothing. He just kind of like stumbled into this, stumbled into that, did it for a while, then said, you know what? I have enough cred now. I'm going to try what I want as a toy show. And then he comes out now in the middle of COVID with a brand new show on Prime and on YouTube. You can watch it, a toy store near you. Literally
really?
He sends camera equipment remotely to these local mom and pop shops so that they can film themselves and talk about their lives in their store and their collections. And then he helps them remotely edit it and put it together. The reason I bring it up is because this is a guy who says, what do I want to see? I want to see this. No matter how cool his stuff is, there's always someone talking crap on the comments, on the message board. He doesn't care. He's just we're all gonna die one day. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, like when you're on your deathbed, you're not gonna give a crap about anybody's, opinions about anything. And
So
and,
true.
and am I right? I was a business major in college, and one of my best friends, and his cousin that we grew up with, all friends, the three of us. His cousin was hit by a drunk driver. This kid was a great-looking kid, brilliant. Chicks loved him. Are you kidding me? Everywhere he went was chicks. I stand next to them hoping I can get some of the runoff, and I'd be happy. And a drunk driver hits this guy, doesn't even kill him. He's a vegetable. And when we were in our 19, 20 years old in college, it freaked me out. And I said, look at this. You do everything right. Someone else comes like a jackass and ruins your whole life. I'm not going to do what I don't want to do in my life. And then to only be, in a coma, on my deathbed, regretting what I didn't do. Screw that, dude. Screw that. And the good thing about COVID and this whole quarantine is like, you have a chance, anybody listening, you have a chance to try some crazy shit right now that you would never have the justification to try. You have time that you didn't have. You can take risks now that you couldn't take before. You know what I mean? And this is the time to double down on what you would do if you knew you were going to die tomorrow. Memento mori. You've seen that the coin people carry, that memento mori coin. It just remember you're gonna die. And that's not a morbid thing. It's just you're gonna die.
Oh, that's well said. I like that.
Am I right, Frank?
Absolutely. You're
There you
total. I agree 100%.
So, I mean, let's see. I was gonna try to turn that into a good question, but I don't know really how to come back. So, what was like?
And that's why I buy gigantic X Plus figures, because you gotta enjoy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? What am I gonna say this?
That is one thing that I in full agreement on. So like, what was the moment for you when you were like? Because I know you said you taught for, was it 13 years? Like, what was the moment for you?
February.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So I guess it was rather lately, or
well,
so,
no, like, what were you gonna say? What was the moment? What?
Yeah, like, what was the moment for you when you were like, you know what, I'm committing to this. I'm doing this full time, and just like
To be real, the real answer is when someone offered to pay me enough to quit teaching, and benefits. You know, like
enough.
everybody likes to talk a big game. Like I used to love going to these conventions. Let me tell you. And you guys know, you go to these conventions, everybody's a big shot. Everybody talks a big game. Oh, I'm loving the life as an artist. And yeah, I quit my job and it's full time, man. Full time making these fucking ink stains with, the green arrow on it. Get out of here. You know what I mean? And this is, and how are they paying for anything? You know what they're doing? They're living in their, they're mooching off the family, and they're just, and indulging themselves, And the reality is that life is hard, and you got to pay bills, and people have families, and I wanted to quit years ago, and not because I didn't enjoy teaching, just because I wanted to double down and focus, but I couldn't afford it. I got married to my ex-wife. We got married when I was 24 or 25. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I had to make money, and so I taught forever, and I just figured out a way in my class with my students to turn my art class into how to not be a starving artist class. In other words, let's get some technique. Not everybody's going to master everything in 6 months to a year. Let's just get some technique. When you have some technique, start a social media page for yourself. Just do it. It's accountability. It's instant accountability. Once you post something, people know you're making something. They're going to ask you, have you made anything else recently? And you're going to either feel like crap to the point where you quit, or feel like crap to the point where you're guilty and you make something else. You know what I mean? So you're accountable. It's like the same thing. If you don't go live one week, you got to post something and say, hey guys, sorry, we'll be back next week. Because people are expecting,
Yeah, every Sunday we always get a couple of people. Is there a show tonight? Exactly.
So the idea is that I tried teaching these kids how to be artists. Post your stuff, make a name, get your email address, blah, blah, blah. And so the class became a way for a bunch of people to just practice being an artist. And I made my artwork in class with the students. Everything I would sell, like that piece behind that you purchased, I carved partially in class with students. Yeah. And it was great, because the cynical people would be like, Santa Maria, getting paid to get paid. You're not. I'm like, no, dude. Now my students don't have that nonsense in their head about starving artists and, oh, my son loves your class, but I really want him to get a real job. I'm like, okay. Fast forward 40 years, he's sitting with a gun in his mouth, wishing that he, didn't go to. Yeah, I mean, come on. And these kids are really talented and they have hope, and give them a shot, just teach them how to do things smart. You could teach a class on starting a YouTube channel, which is a highly marketable skill right now. In fact, I would say now, in the time of a pandemic, is one of the most marketable skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you have a platform to market your business, and you have a weekly schedule with an engaged audience captivated, and you have a chance now to say, okay, we've been doing these auctions for a while. Now we're going to put some toys out. Now we're going to do some interviews. We're going to expand the community. And that's awesome, dude. And it's the same thing with artwork. It's the same thing with artwork. You just got to say, I enjoy doing this. If I enjoy doing it, I'm going to do it a lot more. And if I do it a lot more, I'm going to get better at it. And if I get better at it, I'm going to get more opportunities. And then I'm going to get a chance to get paid doing it. And as long as I'm not a clown and I'm not disrespectful and I'm grateful for the opportunities that I get, I'll get more opportunities. It's not magic. It's like just plot, keep your head down, keep grinding, and you're going to work at something. You might as well work at what you like to do.
It really is just the old, like, you get back what you put in.
Yeah. And loving the grind.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a dream come true for me and for Dad. Like, we've always were into collecting toys. So the fact that we like now have like, a legit toy store, and now we're getting our own exclusives, like getting the Hop Toys, like when that box came and it's like, the header card's over there. Like the header card has our logo on it. It's like, so cool, dude, man. It's like, this is amazing.
You can't go back. You can't go back now. You have to keep going now and double down on that. That's so cool.
Yeah. So
that's what's happening.
I'm really, well, I mean, yeah, because to get real, like, I had my career job and then it was gone, and so I was like, all right, let's take advantage of this time and see what we can do. And
it's amazing.
I've dug down and trying to expand every possible way I can. Now we got Audrey's, we got robot monsters, we might have something else special coming up. Can't exactly talk about all that. Speaking of special things, don't you have some Godzilla Mondo stuff you want to talk about?
Well, you showed some of them in the slides. I've released 4 now. So we did a Mothra, Godzilla vs. Mothra. We did Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, Ibira Horror of the Deep, and Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. That one, the carving that you're showing there. And those are all official Toho licensed, available through Mondo. And I've teased a couple times that I'm doing a couple more. One of them is very, very, very close to being announced and teased and or revealed, I should say. I've teased a little bit of it. Let me see what I can tease. I have the carving here, AJ, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh my God.
You can't show the whole thing. Are you kidding me? I have a window right here. I can see Chris Mowry looking in right now. He's like peeking like this to see.
I don't want to get you in trouble, man. You don't gotta show it.
But I'll give you. Let me see. I'm gonna give you a little tease. Okay.
Okay. Oh, it's a Kaiju Live exclusive here.
Let me see. All right. All right. Let me. So that right there tells everybody what movie it is, right? If you can read Japanese backwards, right, Frank? You always said you were great at reading Japanese backwards. I remember that.
Oh yes, it's a hobby of mine.
That was your thing. And here's a little tease. There's 3 heads there.
Awesome.
Right? Okay, no one's seen that, so that's it. You're the first to see that. Woo! But I can't wait to show everybody the bottom half and the rest of that, because there's one aspect of this print coming up that is so underrepresented in all things Godzilla movies, Godzilla collectibles, everything. It's such a rare represented part of the, at least from my perspective, that I'm happy I got to put it in. So can't wait. It'll be out. It'll be announced soon, I imagine, maybe within the next couple of weeks.
Now, is there anything being done about like bots? Like, are you gonna have a special set aside for like one of your live shows?
Well, so Mondo sells their initial run, and then I get a set of APs to sell on my own. And we were successful during our last stream putting a secret link in the chat right when we sold it, and it seems like everybody was thrilled on that. Like, people who wanted prints got them. They didn't have to fight with bots, and so we're definitely going to be doing that again. We're definitely going to use that again. And I feel like that's going to help people who are fans and want it get it. Look, if you get my print and you want to flip it, I can't blame you. People are insane now paying what they pay on eBay, and I get it. But if you just want it as a collector, I feel like you have a better chance.
Do you ever like when that stuff happens? Do you ever be like, man, maybe I should charge more?
That's a good idea.
Well, we have.
Because you have. Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, because
what did you pay for that print? $40?
Yeah, what does that
Now-
go for now if I threw that on eBay?
Well, that
Or
one
on Kaiju Live?
gotta go on eBay. But the new Godzilla prints, they're going for, I think, between 80 and $100 each. You know,
Nice.
and then on eBay, people are flipping them for $300-400.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Damn, man.
yeah, dude. So,
It's,
but you
it's
know,
crazy how bots are everywhere. Like NECA toy exclusives. Like there's a bot for literally everything you can possibly purchase. It's just like people are relentless.
It's crazy. I all I can tell you is that I'm honored that people want anything that I've made enough to pay triple, quadruple what I asked for it. I hope that no one gets so bummed out when they miss out because I'm still young. I'm gonna make a crap ton more. They're gonna have to kill me. You understand? To get me out of this industry. Understand what I'm saying? They're gonna have to drag me out of this industry. I burned all my bridges in the education system, Frank. You understand what I'm saying? They're not gonna take me back. The things I said on the way out, unforgivable. So I have to,
man.
so the good news is I hope that, people realize Mondo's stoked, Toho's stoked, I'm stoked. I'll make as many Godzilla posters as they'll allow me to make. And then I'm already like creating my little getaway boat with Takaro. So we'll have our own universe of giant monsters and stuff to play with. So it's going to be awesome, man.
Well, maybe our guy has to fight your guy sometime in
that'd
the
be great.
future.
Absolutely, man.
That would
Absolutely.
be incredible.
I would love that. That's the goal at some point. Look, now you're working with licenses and big time toy guys over here. Little by little, you're gonna have sharing the shelf space with your own creations and big names that have always existed. And little by little, those lines merge, dude. And then you have a series that has your creatures, your monsters with extra Godzilla and Gamera and all that. And that's what we're not gonna quit, Frank.
Yeah,
right?
Can't stop,
No.
won't stop.
No way.
Frank didn't want to be here tonight. He's not here for his health. Frank, he's hustling, man. Let's go.
Yes.
I'm inspired, dude. I love it, man.
All right, Dad, you got any questions? Damn, it's been on for an hour and a half now. Reason.
It was a bonus episode.
Yeah, I can sit and talk movies and toys
Me too.
all night. So
Anytime.
get ready for a 4-hour episode, guys.
Well, I'll be happy.
So Peter,
to come
what
back.
would you say is your average time of carving to get one print out?
Yeah, so the ones the size of like the 18 by 24 image, like the one you guys have there, I'll spend a week, 8-hour a day, 5 days a week, grinding, sketching it out, carving it out, and doing the first print. That's an 8-hour. That's 40 hours. I've timed it now, and then each print takes me about 8 minutes to make, each one. So when I do an edition of like 100 prints, with breaks, because it's actual physical labor, not like these hippies
Right.
who just hit print on their computers. You know what I mean? So I'll do like 25 of them a day, 25 prints a day, and sometimes I'll push 30, and so about a few days to do a run, like 4 days to do an edition of 100. And so it's tiring, and then little by little the linoleum carving breaks down. It doesn't print as clearly, so it's got its own built-in limited nature as well.
You sell the blocks too, right?
Not often. The ones that you showed were trades with a friend of mine, and we did some fun trades. Actually, I don't know. Well, I don't know if he wants me to say. But I did. Yeah, just in case. But you know him, and we did some trades, and he hooked it up with some awesome X Plus figures that I couldn't find even if I wanted to pay for a full price, and I gave him some one-of-one carvings, and so he's got a nice little set of rare exclusive things going on over there. But yeah, but the big ones I haven't sold yet. We were talking with Mondo about hopefully once we complete the run of Godzilla posters, collecting them maybe as like a book or doing a show with all the prints and the carvings next to them. Something like that would be super fun, I think. And it's cool because unless you sit down and listen to me jabber on for an hour and a half, some people don't really know how these things are made, or and so it's cool to show people that stuff in person.
Mm-hmm. And Peter, tell us about the paper that they're all run off on.
I love the running joke that when people get your stuff, because I joined your group earlier this week, where they like, oh man, it's got ripped edges.
Yeah. Dude, well, the funny thing is the paper is handmade, right? And the paper is handmade in Nepal. And it's made by like in a traditional way. So they have these giant screens, like a screen print would be on, were made with, and they're like, it's like a wooden frame and a screen mesh is pulled in that frame tight. And then they sit these screens in rows in the field like a farm crop. And then they make a mixture of like, different raw materials, and they spread that mixture like a paste on the screen. And then after it cures in the sun, they come one by one and pull every sheet of paper. And because of that, they're not like perfect rectangles. Like if you get a screen print, or if you get a Xerox print, or it's not machine cut paper. And so sometimes, when I was selling them in person at conventions, it was easier to explain that to customers one at a time. But when you ship things, not everybody gets that information up front. And so sometimes people are like, oh, my thing is all ripped and all that. Now, listen, sometimes there is shipping damage. That's a legit concern. But sometimes you got to explain, well, it's never going to be a perfect rectangle. And what's really cool about, like you're talking about the Facebook group is, I'll go live there and talk with them and explain things like that, because they're really interested and they're really cool about it. And then they're really great about explaining it to other people. But yeah, there's definitely lots of jokes to be made. Like one time, I mean, you get all kinds of weird things. Like I said, sometimes sometimes it looks like a waistline, the side of the paper. It's like a curve. It's bizarre. And then other times, like I've had an insect crushed into the fibers of the paper, and I'm like, do I print on this and send it, or are people gonna think that I live in squalor? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and so I try to document all that stuff as much as I can, so that people get that like it's a natural handmade artifact, this paper that gets hand printed on. So that when you get strange oddities like that, like sometimes there's like a long piece of like a stem in the paper, and people, I gotta tell them, don't pull it out, just leave it in, because if you pull it out, it might be like a sweater where you just keep pulling and the whole thing comes undone. And just leave it in there, and then let it be a one of a kind like that. And yeah, it's just part of the process of using that paper. It's called Lokta. It's called Lokta, Lokta.
How long does it take for you to, like, when you order a batch?
That's very cool.
Dude, it's so funny because let me show you. So I get these giant. Nowadays, I buy these. I buy them in bulk, or Skybound provides them for me in bulk, and they come in these giant boxes that are bigger, obviously, than the flat. They come flat like this, right? Mm-hmm. But we order like 1,000 sheets at a time. They come in little bushels of 10. I don't know if you can see that little belt that's like kind of like strapped around it.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
You see that? Okay. So they're like individual stacks of 10. The problem is that little belt, when it's coming from freaking Nepal, is like, moving around. It kind of like pulls. Like, look at that. You can see if I do that, really.
Yeah.
You see that dangling belt? It pulls at it. So sometimes you get like this one has a giant crease in it. Right here. I see it. I'm going to send this off, and someone's going to think, I'm a jerk for sending them a crease. I'm like, that's just the way it came. This one's got all kinds of weird things in it. But the good thing is, if people are unhappy about it once or twice, we'll give them a refund or exchange it or whatever it is. But after a while, every time we do that, we educate. We like to, just so you know, this is how it is. And I think we're going to start putting that disclaimer on every time we sell a print, so that people know that this is just different weird stuff. It's not.
Like I think it adds to the art.
I was going to say, you're into the imperfections.
It adds to the whole.
Frank, you know what they call that? Wabi sabi. Perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
It's like the perfection of imperfection is part of it, man. It's like, it adds character. It's like especially for collectors who like one of a kind. You know what I mean? Like, it's a handmade item. No two are the same. The fact that the way they're printed, no two ever print exactly the same. So all that stuff factors in. I love seeing the human element of it. Yeah. It's a good time. It's a good racket I got here, Frank.
So, were you everyone's favorite teacher? You had to be, I'd imagine, right?
I got away with a lot because I had tattoos, you know. But then I assigned homework in art class, so sometimes people get pissed.
Oh God! They're like, wait, I thought we were just supposed to talk about pictures and stuff.
Pictures and stuff, exactly. I had a couple nutnicks that I was happy if they were breathing by the end of the class period. Trust me, they're like warm machines. But we had a good time. I taught it recently at an all-boys school, all-boys high school in Miami, and that was wild because you want to talk about kids who don't necessarily think art is that serious. Like it's just a fun, easy A, you know. So we had to but by the end of it, like I still keep in touch with a lot of them, and I have a few of them who are starting their own little businesses now, doing something similar to what I'm doing. So it's really good. It's really great to be able to have done that.
Kelly's a teacher, and she basically just built like her. She's doing 100% remote, and it's like turned her little office into essentially a full-on classroom. So it's
Look, teachers can adapt, man. They can think on their feet. They can adapt because you have to do that all day. So
every day, yeah. The stuff that she tells me every day, I'm just like, I don't understand. That's it doesn't make any sense. Who's running the show over there?
It's wild. The reality is, unfortunately, she's running her own little world in spite of everything that's going on around her. Usually,
basically,
yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Absolutely, yeah. Shout out to teachers. My wife's a teacher, and she's teaching remotely. And they just started bringing a few kids in to the school, and optional. They don't have to come in, but if they want to come in, they can. You only got like a few kids to show up, but.
Yeah, what kids are optionally willing? Like, who wants to go to school?
Yeah, but
if you were given
they're home
the
for
option,
6 months.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they're probably like, all right, I'm done with this. I hate my family. Let's leave. I'll take my chances out in the wild.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man. You got any more questions, Dad? What are you?
I have a question, Frank.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you have any closed mouth 64 X Plus Godzillas?
No, that is the one that we don't even have for us.
Mm-hmm. What's the Grail? Do you guys still have Grails? Like, you guys have seen so much and collected so much. So much has probably come and gone and transpired, and like.
There's definitely a lot of figures where we're just like, man, why do we?
I know.
Why do we sell?
We've sold quite a few Grails. Yeah.
Is there one that comes to mind that you would reverse if you could?
The purples.
What?
The Ghidra.
What, the Black Marmot? The Black Gallery one?
Yeah.
The Black Gallery King Ghidra Marmot sticks out as one that I 100% regret.
I gotta see that.
For if you're not familiar with the Black Gallery with Marmots, they basically they released several figures in that line, and they're all like black with like silver and red highlights.
Oh yeah, those are real nice.
So yeah, they're just real like sleek looking, and the Ghidra one was just beautiful.
Ghidra looks so mean.
I was like,
in
man,
black. Yeah, nice.
But like in terms of figures that I would absolutely like, I'll never get rid. We have like the Bandai bronze Godzilla. Like that's never that gets buried with one of us. I don't know.
The Mecha Robot.
Oh yeah, that
one's cool.
We did that review on the RC Mecha Godzilla. Yeah, that's
a cool figure.
And for me, I mean, a lot of like, the X Pluses hold a lot for me because like those are what I love now. But
yeah,
like just nostalgia. It's like the Forever Bandai set. Like, I know people are down on Bandai's now, but for me, like that was, that was the big chase for us when we were first starting out as collectors. Was like, oh man, gotta get the Forever set.
Absolutely.
What's the origin story? What is the origin story? Like, Frank, were you doing this before? Like, how did it all come together? Like, how did you guys start off? I always wondered that. Like, where did you get all this stuff?
Origin tale.
As far as dealer, like selling.
Yeah, I suppose.
All right. Well, back in, let's see, 2005.
Have you revealed this story before, by the way? Is this exclusive?
I think in bits and pieces, but never like a start to finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had a surgery that went bad, and I wound up having a stroke. So I couldn't work. I used to be in advertising displays,
Okay.
and so I couldn't work anymore because my left side is like affected, my arm and my leg a little bit. So after I got old, because my anxiety level went through the roof at that point. I didn't even leave the house for 2 years. I would just go to physical therapy 3 times a week back then.
And
And
watch
then,
Godzilla movies.
yeah. So I figured I got to do something with my time here. And, we were big collectors and stuff.
Before all
And,
this.
yeah.
I mean, I was basically raised as you have to get two of everything because one has to because one has to be in a box and not allowed to be. So like if we could, it was like, all right, like get one to play with and one goes away. One to play with, one goes away. If we could do it. So yeah, I always had the collector's mentality. Well, from
Gotcha.
No, I was like, well, there's dealers out there doing it. I mean, they're not making these toys; they're getting them. They're finding
Right.
them. So I did some research and stuff, and made my connections in Japan, and I opened up an eBay store called Kaiju Collectibles. Godzilla 1. That was me. And we did that. Oh, I did that for.
Yeah, I wasn't
Years,
part of the
years.
equation yet. I was still.
And then
around.
eBay went south eventually,
Mm,
like about 2.5 years ago.
yeah.
And that's how Kaiju Live. My girlfriend at the time used to watch these jewelry shows. Paparazzi jewelry.
I was just saying, because it reminded
online.
me, like, yeah, okay, good.
Facebook Live, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, we could do a show like this with Godzilla. No one does it,
We had, well, you had at the time like
Yeah.
a lot of leftover inventory from
Right.
the store, so it was like So originally it started off as like let's just get rid of this.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
just trying to get rid of my inventory. I was just
Got
going to
it.
get rid of it, and that was it. But it just kept going, and like I say this, it took us 3 shows before I sold the first figure.
No way.
And then I remember we were all excited when we broke the double digits, when we had 10 viewers,
Yeah, it's a slow grind, and like I wasn't even part of the first, what was it, year and a half,
Yeah,
2 years?
yeah, almost.
Are those videos online?
Yeah.
Are those videos still online?
They're all on if you go to our Facebook page, they're all still there. Yeah, you can go. Dad just had
It was just filmed with an iPad
in a basement.
with pipes behind us in the basement. And
You could hear the water running when the mother went to the bathroom. It was great.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like in your blood to hustle and grind and like come up with stuff. It's awesome.
So then
that was the origins.
So then it was like
Kaiju Live.
I think it was like Christmas Eve, and like I always tuned into the show every now and then, joined the chat and stuff. And Christmas Eve, I was just like, Dad, because I did like the video game stuff. I ran video game tournaments. I did the streams. Like I'm in that world. Like, so I was like, I could make the show better. Like, we can really up the quality. Like, we can get 2 cameras, so you can have a toy cam and a regular cam. I'm like, we can, boost it up a little bit. So originally I had no intention of ever being on the screen. I wanted to be like, was it Jamie on Joe Rogan, like the guy in the back? Like, you didn't see him, you just heard him every now and then. I wanted to just be the guy producing the show. And then it didn't end up that way at all, actually. I just got, Dad was like, no, you're going to do it. And I was like, all right. And yeah, I remember.
But it all worked out great because when I started the Kaiju collectible thing years ago, I thought that would be something we would do together, but he was young and, he was running around and everything, so.
Like a maniac.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it all came together at the end, so it's good.
I love it, man.
And now I remember when we were like the first time we crossed like 25 viewers, like, yeah, we were like so amped up. And now, you know, the show for the most part does. I mean, now we're averaging like 85, 95 viewers every time for the Sunday, you know, for the auction shows.
Yeah,
And it's cool. Like, you know, and we always encourage everyone to join the chat. Like, you don't have to
yeah,
bid on anything. Just come and
it's
hang
true.
out. Like, and then, you know, if you see something you like, go ahead. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's
I'll
It's a
tell you
lot
something,
of fun. It really
it's
is.
a lot of
It's
fun.
not
But I'm
work
gonna
at all. It's fun.
I was gonna tell you, it's an awesome formula. It's super entertaining. But I'm gonna tell you the weird, like, thing that I feel I've learned about it, like participating a few times. You guys are so nice about it. You're not pressuring anybody to buy anything. You're always cool. It's like buy it if you want. It's all good. You know, that's it. But there's something about when Frank's sitting there and just kind of like smiling and calling out. Let me tell you something. This is a bizarre thing that I've learned. There's something that happens when I see a figure. I'm like, I kind of want that figure, but maybe I shouldn't. It happened when I was outbid on this Gamora that someone, whoever's in the chat, probably is someone out there who outbid me, and and there was something happened when the numbers were going up. It's almost like I felt like Frank was rooting for me to win. It was like I was like projecting this, and like I could just see Frank like, "Come on, Pete, you can do
I
it."
was.
I'm like, you know what? Heck yeah, Frank, I'm gonna do this, man. And I'm like, I'm gonna win this for you, Frank. And I'm like, what does that even mean? It makes no sense. But I felt this, and I'm like, And then I lost, and I go, like I just like got out of the matrix. I'm like, what? What just happened to me, man? Like I was in a vortex, man. I was feeling it and the energy, and I was gonna do it for Frank. It was so crazy, man. It's brilliant, man. I love the show so much. I put it on all the time. We watch TV in my living room. My wife's watching something or show, whatever, and I go, oh, perfect. I got the notification. It's on. I'll just turn it on my phone. I'll just set it there. I have it like on minimal volume so I can kind of hear what you guys are saying. I see the stuff. I talk in the chat. And it's just super entertaining. I love the show. I hope you guys never stop doing it. I love it.
Yeah, my buddy JPL's in the chat. Can you show off that Deso Goji you got there? That big flex
This
you
one?
got? Yeah, can you tell that story?
Thank you,
Man,
Pete, by the way.
I don't know, man. I mean, Frank, it's a great show, man. I love watching you guys on it. Well, this is a funny story. I feel like I don't really deserve this figure now that I know what people like, how they feel about
when
it.
you when you showed that to me, like when we first started, I was like, dude.
I know, right?
Yeah,
So it's
Like,
crazy
dude,
because
That is gorgeous. Jeez.
again, I'm pretty naive when it comes to a lot of like the chase figures and things that people are after because I've only like gone deep in the last like maybe 2 years. But I know that I love this sculpt, you know, and it's so hard to get. And I see what the prices go, and I love the paint jobs that are out there on them. And I'm like, man, I just want to get one of these figures. Like I got a few other ones that cost $60-$70. What's the big deal? And people are like, you're never gonna get one, bro.
Yeah, 60-70
Like
bucks.
I'm pretty sure that like it was Keelan on a chat, Clen7, telling me like, dude, you don't know what you don't know, and so he kind of schooled me on. I'm like, and then how somebody owns the mold and the sculpt and all that. I'm like, wow, that's fascinating stuff. And so recently, I feel like I'm mispronouncing his name, but Akamentashi, or I forget how to pronounce it, but I apologize. But he reached out to me, that I guess the guy who owns the sculpt, on Instagram, to see if I would be interested in doing a print of his Dazu Ultimatum, which I don't know if you guys are familiar, is like this kind of like awesome combination of Godzilla heads and robot parts. It's this crazy thing. And I told him I'd love to do it. I just you know, I'm not sure when we could do it in the schedule, but I can't wait. I want to do it. And then just out of like, you know, I told him I was a fan of the sculpts that he owned and like I love the stuff that he's doing. He goes, oh, let me just send you one. I'm like, what? I'm like, don't send it to me because I don't know when I'm gonna get around. I thought maybe he was doing it as like a trade or something. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to do the print. He's like, no, just because I'm, you know, just out of kindness. So he sends me this, and then I'm like, oh, cool. It's like a clear version, you know, it's really pretty. But the cool thing about this one is the eyes, man. Like it's like the eyes are painted like it's a full painted sculpt, but then the rest of it's like this clear champagne glittery thing. And so I showed it to some of my friends. I showed it to Keelan, and I'm like, dude, look at this thing. He's like, holy crap. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty rare, huh? He's like, dude, it's like, and he told me like there's like not very many of them, and people were going bananas trying to get them online. And I'm like, man, I don't deserve this figure.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not the one who deserves it.
You
But
could probably sell that for $2,000.
that's crazy, man. Well, I was telling AJ before, Frank, that I feel like so honored to receive it that I don't think I could ever sell it or trade it or anything. It's just so.
No, that's
It's
a
such a
great
cool
story.
token. Yeah, it's a cool token of somebody being for no
Conversation piece.
reason, just being a nice person. And I've never met the guy. I've spoken to him online. Seems like a great guy. People have great things to say about him. And this is the kind of thing that I love about this community, about collecting the figures, about making the artwork, about meeting you guys, doing the shows. Like, it's fun, man. Like, you make friends this way, and like eventually we're gonna see each other at a show again, and it's gonna be cool, man. And like all of this over our love of these cool dorky things that we like.
Man, look
That's
who
right.
just joined the chat.
That's
Another amazing artist with the
Who's
manga
that?
poses. Tom, what's up, man? Thank you so much for tuning
Whalen.
in, dude.
Dude, Tom Whalen's a golden god, dude.
I
That guy's
watched your chat on that. That was a great episode as well, man.
Tom's a great example of what we were just talking about. So, like, I've mentioned this before, but when I was first shipping out these Mondo prints, I was shipping them the same way I'd been shipping prints forever. And 8 years selling prints here and there. Sometimes you get some damage, but nothing crazy, and you refund or replace, not a big deal. But I sent out 150 prints at once in one batch. It was nuts. And, like I would say 10, maybe 11 of them went out. And they got crushed or they got looted in the tubes because I didn't even tape the tubes shut like an idiot. And I got eviscerated online, like shellacked. You know what I mean? And like rightfully so, that like, how does this guy ship these prints? Like he doesn't know what he's doing, and it's all this. And I'm like, damn, I got, what a way to get your dream project and a big stage and it crap the bed. So Tom Whalen and Jason Edmiston, two great artists, super well known. They don't need me promoting them. Reached out to me separately, said, "Hey, saw what happened. Listen, if you need any help or advice on how to ship these things, hit me up." And it wasn't like idiot, it was just like, "Let me help you." And Tom and I have become friends, and I've always admired his work, and he's like synonymous with Mondo. And I mean, I was talking to him on the interview. It's no joke. I mean, it's no secret. Like, there's a whole sub industry of people who want to be Tom Whalen. You know what I mean? And he still continues to crush it and evolve and make the best artwork and all the while still taking time out of his day to like show me, a big knucklehead, how to roll and pack a tube properly. And it was and I'm so grateful to have him as a friend. Again, same thing, same way.
That's a good story.
He's awesome, man. So if you love his artwork, double down, because he's a great dude too, and a huge fan of all this, obviously.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get one of his Terra Mecha Godzilla prints. Yeah, I still in its tube. I haven't taken that bad boy out. One day.
That thing's amazing.
Well,
That
hopefully
thing's
Peter
amazing.
can pack it.
Have you even seen that?
Yeah, seriously. if I would have like a Rottweiler, chewed it up and sent it to you first. Tom, I just bought his 2 shirts that Mondo put out, the Jet Jaguar and the Hidora one, and love those, man.
I was hoping to have your shirt today. I got the orange Takaro shirt.
Oh, heck yeah.
It didn't show up, so I'm super excited about that.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I wanted to have that on. You have yours on. It would have been great, but
Next time.
Post office be damned.
Next time. And have you had Tom on the show before?
No.
Oh man, I'm sure he's super slammed, but I would love to have him on and talk toys, with you guys and stuff. He's got a good little collection going too, and he knows his stuff.
Awesome. Anytime.
Interesting.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man.
I
hope I don't put you on the spot.
I can fit as many Skype people on this program as we want. Bring them. Let's get a nice little round table.
Awesome, man.
But all right, man. We've been on for 2 hours. All right. So before we go, do you got anything else you want to promote? You have tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, every Thursday we drop new video content, and I think we're going to start going live every Thursday instead of only doing pre-tape stuff and some live. We're going to go live tomorrow, and we're kicking off a whole month of monsters. So we've been focusing a lot on like giant monsters and kaiju and all that, but in October we're going to like give some love to like the classic horror monsters. So like your vampires and werewolves and, you know, Frankenstein's monsters and zombies and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So we're going to dive deep on that, and we're going to keep up with what we were doing with crowdsourcing ideas and having the live chat help out with the designs. I put up a poll in the Facebook group to see who everybody's favorite monster archetype was. I think the Frankenstein's monster is like leading. I voted for the Gillman. Anything creature from the Black Lagoon or Fishman is my jam. And we're gonna pick a few of them, and we're gonna design them as prints, maybe T-shirts, maybe more. We'll see. But definitely, we're gonna start off tomorrow. Is gonna be the first episode of a 5-part series talking about that. So I'm super stoked.
Awesome, man. We'll definitely. I'll see you
So
in the
people
chat.
just have to what? Search.
Attack Peter on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
Attack Peter on YouTube. On Facebook, the Facebook group is Attack Peter Print Crew. Then on Instagram and Twitter, it's also Attack Peter. And I'm always posting stuff there and checking out everything and sharing fun stuff. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, I would love it if you did and come follow and hang and say what's up. And yeah, man, that's what we're busy. We got a lot of cool stuff going on. I can't say too much, but we've been doing a lot of 2D stuff for a long time with Attack Peter, and pretty soon, I would say within the next month or so, we might be adding a dimension.
Oh man.
Ooh,
You might even call it a third dimension.
What about a fourth
And
dimension?
so it's gonna be very exciting pretty soon. We'll be talking about that.
Awesome, man.
Wow, cool.
A lot of exciting stuff. I love the tattoo hashtag that you have going on your Instagram
Isn't
with
that
people.
crazy?
Yeah, that's
that blows
awesome.
my mind, dude. That blows my mind. Like the first time someone got a tattoo of my artwork, it freaked me out. I'm like, holy crap. And then, yeah, dude. And then it started happening more and more and more. And one time I got 2 people on the same day sending me the same image tattooed on their body, like the dragon head that I designed, this little dragon head.
Wow.
And you know what's funny, Frank? I gotta tell you, people were getting tattoos of my prints on parts of their body that didn't really fit. Like the print is like the size that you guys have, and they're going to the tattoo shop. These people, here's $20, tattoo my toe with this thing, and it looks like someone put the ink in a shotgun and blasted it on their body. So now what I've done. Okay, never let it be said I'm not a man of the people. Now what I've done is I've started to design the artwork more knowing that someone might get a tattoo, so that if they do,
Very cool.
there's a good shot it's going to translate well. So, but yeah,
Awesome,
man.
Well,
Telling you.
thank you so much for joining us, man. I had a great time. We'll definitely.
My pleasure, man.
So, everyone, have a great night. If you liked what you saw, definitely like, comment, subscribe. And if you didn't like what you saw, well, it sucks to be you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What are you doing here for 2 hours?
Definitely
if you
follow
like it?
Attack Peter. One of the most talented, and even more impressive than that, one of the nicest guys in this hobby.
Yeah, I'm so glad we met at 5 points.
A pleasure to talk to you, Peter.
Yeah, man. Anytime, dude. I love geeking out, talking this stuff, and I'm always watching. So keep it up. I love it. Thank you guys
everybody. Have a great night.
Okay, good night, man.
泣くな僕らも頑